Let's recite Namaskara. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theri Sanna, everyone. Today, I'm going to tell you a fascinating story about a nun who changed her destiny. Long time ago, she was lucky to be born in numerous times in the human realm where the advert of Sambuddhasasana happened. She made various offerings to the Lord Buddha and the Mahasangha and accumulated an unfathomable amount of merits. And she gallivanted in the samsara for unaccountable eons, and then in the heavenly plane and in the human realm. She was born in many lives, and then for the final one last time, she was born in the human realm, in the era of the Gautama Samma Sambuddha. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth to an affluent family, the elite in that society. She was the daughter of the sister of the Seeha, who was the chief military commander at that time. She was named Seeha to resonate her uncle's name. She was brought up with all the luxury, and she was very beautiful, and everybody around her loved her and respected her. One fine day, she got the golden ticket to listen to the sublime teaching of the Lord Buddha when her uncle went to visit the Lord Buddha. She was thrilled to listen to the Lord Buddha's teaching, and she made a firm resolve to renunciate her lay life. With the blessings and the permission of her parents, she renunciated her lay life. Even though she renunciated, she couldn't let go of her lay attitude. She always let her wild thoughts get the better of her. She thought of all the sensual pleasures. She thought about the sensual world all the time. Dear children, she was trapped in that sensual world. She thought of the delicious and succulent food that she could have in her lay life. She thought of the aroma. She almost felt that aroma. And then she thought of the music and symphonies that was so sweet to the ear. The orchestras, the finest musicians played, that she visited and enjoyed in her lay life. She remembered the way she danced away the nights and the way swaying her hands in the perfect formation and captivating anyone who watched her. She thought about the finest and silky clothing and expensive, precious diamonds and jewelry she used to wear. she couldn't let go of any of that. The fragrance, imagine she couldn't let go of even a fragrance. She thought of fragrance, the sweet, flowery, the sweet flower insisted perfumes that she once missed herself with. She indulged herself in lustful thoughts, and she recalled how she enjoyed the attention of young men that fell in love with her for her gorgeousness and mysteriousness. She enjoyed it all, my dear children. She was lost in an ocean of sensuality, and she enjoyed it all. The more she enjoyed those feelings, the more weaker and defiled her mind became. The more she thought about those, it conquered her mind. She was fighting a battle that she couldn't win. She spent her time dreamily and absent-mindedly. She couldn't concentrate about the surroundings. She didn't know what was happening around her because she was lost in her own little bubble. She was trapped, submerged and tangled in her own little world of pleasures. She put a puny effort, but she was lackadaisical to practice the path, whereas the other bhikkhunis were putting heart and soul to practice the path. The breeze of time flew by. The other bhikkhunis were practicing the path, and they were successful in achieving the noble fruits. But she was falling apart. She was laid back, and that hurt her. She tried hard, but these lustful and sensual thoughts encroached her life. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't concentrate on Dhamma. She couldn't practice the Dhamma. She couldn't attain the state of samadhi. She started to feel that she was running a race that had already lost. Dear children, try to get into her shoes. Think about what was happening in her mind. She was trying to do something. She felt she has already lost inside of her, but she was trying to do something. But those lustful thoughts have encroached her mind already. She didn't know what to do. She became as thin as a rake. Her once beautiful and brightly lit face became sullen and gloomy. Her once soft and supple and radiant face, the complexion, became drained off. Even though she was alive, she was a dead body from the outside. She was fighting a battle that she felt she can't win. She thought she has lost already. She was running a race she has lost already. She was trying to fight a battle. She was trying to control the lustful thoughts, to take under the command of wisdom, but she was incapable of that. She was suffering immensely. She encountered a great deal of suffering. The Worst part of it was she couldn't go to a teacher and reveal herself. She was suffering all by herself. She didn't have a teacher to tell her pain. Just imagine suffering all by herself. She's losing herself. She had countless times where she wanted to give up, leave. And there were countless times that she wanted to scream out loud. She suffered while everyone else was getting healed day after day, bathed in the river of pure Dhamma, whereas she was suffering for 7 long years. Can you imagine? She suffered for 7 long years continuously without achieving any state of samadhi. Dear children, she didn't give up. That's the greatest point. But it came to one point where she had to make a decision. Finally, she thought to herself, I can't live this sinful life anymore. I have lived this life for 7 years without any trace of improvement. I have to do something about it. Wearing this crimson robe and having completely a defiled mind and having lustful and sensual thoughts all the time. And it is not right. I have to end this. I lost a lay life. I cannot go back. I have to do something to stop this miserable, sorrowful life, she thought. Can you imagine what she did next? She's a courageous woman. She thought to herself, I lost my lay life. I lost a lay life. I cannot go back. Dear children, she had this perseverance. If not, she wouldn't stay for 7 long years, suffering for such a long time. Then she went to the nearby forest, taking a strong, stout rope in her hands. She walked straight to the middle of the forest, stopped right in the middle of the forest, and with her trembling hands, put a knot with the rope and hang it on a tree. Oh yes, that's what she was doing. Exactly what you're thinking. She's going to put that around her neck. She's going to hang herself. She's going to put an end to the suffering by hanging herself. She's going to hang herself now. All of a sudden, when she was hanging herself, the Dhamma started to pour. Throughout these 7 long years, she couldn't attain any state of samadhi. At that very moment, the Dhamma, the comprehension of the noble truth, started to pour into her mind. Undoubted truth started to she started to contemplate on Dhamma, pure Dhamma. She freed from all the fetters that kept her bound to this samsara. She was free from all the fetters. She attained the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. As she attained Nibbana, the knot went loose and her life was saved. Dear children, what do you think of the story? she lived for 7 long years without achieving any accomplishment in life. All she had was lustful thoughts without any happiness. She was suffering for long years, yet she didn't give up. She was hanging on to it. She had this perseverance, determination. And the greatest point I saw was that she could have easily gone back to her lay life. She could have easily gone back to her lay life and spent a very happy life because she was from a great background, from an affluent family. She could have spent a happy, luxurious life, but she didn't do it. She knew that lay life was useless. It's worthless. She wanted to achieve this somehow or the other, but she didn't know the path. But in her journey of samsara, whenever she got the chance, whenever she met a Sambuddha-sasana, she achieved a tremendous amount of merits. Her meritorious power saved her. When the causes aligned, she was saved. Wherever she went, she accumulated merits. She was born to an affluent family because of that, because of the meritorious power. She was born to a Sambuddha-sasana because of her merit power. She received Dhamma because of merit power. She attained arahantship because of merit power. She was driven by merit power. So, my dear children, the other lesson I learned from this story, we can learn from this story, is that don't judge people. When she was trying hard to find a solution to her problem, people may have judged her. She was weak. She was a beautiful lady before she found her problem, before she got into her problem. She was a very beautiful young lady, but she grew thinner day by day with her issue. She didn't know a way to get out of it. But people around her must have judged her. There's a beautiful saying, right? A book cannot be judged by its cover. Right? So we cannot judge anyone's destination. There might be other nuns who have achieved different state of fruits, noble fruits, but she achieved arahantship at once. She suffered for 7 long years and achieved arahantship at once. Without receiving different stages, she received the arahantship at once, my dear children. So you may find people like that. Maybe your siblings, maybe your friends, your relatives, anyone around you. I have heard there are world-renowned scientists who were very weak in their childhood, but they became world-renowned scientists later on. But in their childhood, they didn't perform well in their studies, but they became scientists. If they are not brainy, they are talented enough, how come if they're not talented enough, how come they become scientists? They became scientists because they were talented enough, they were brainy enough. But everyone has their time. We have heard this proverb, every dark cloud has a silver lining. So it takes time to see the silver lining. We have to give them the right time. We should not judge them by their weaknesses. We should accept them. We have to let them grow. It takes time to align the causes. So never judge them. Their merit power will drive them to the right direction. We have to wait and see, accept them as they are. So, dear children, this story teaches us a great lesson. I want you to accumulate as many merits you can achieve. Accumulate many merits as possible. That's what we can do. We have received a Sambuddha Sasana. Practice the path. Listen to sermons. Accumulate many merits as possible. That's all we can do. The causes will align when it happens. We don't know when it happens. Just like in the story of Seeha, Theri. Let's do that. We can do it. We all can do it. Let's strive hard. Let's practice it. May the Noble Triple Gem be with you all.